The latest updates from the Young and the Restless tease that Phyllis Summers and Kane Ashby could soon find themselves in a situation that pushes both temptation and danger to the brink, and it all happens in one unforgettable encounter aboard a private train. It's the kind of setup that defines Genoa City's most intoxicating stories, a mixture of lust, guilt, secrets, and the inevitable fallout waiting just around the corner. But as always, when Phyllis and Kane collide, the stakes aren't just emotional, they're criminal, too. For weeks, whispers have been spreading across Newman Media, Chancellor Winters, and Jabot about Kane's alleged AI software, a revolutionary program capable of predicting financial outcomes and rewriting corporate hierarchies. On paper, it's the holy grail of technology. In reality, no one's sure it even exists. The code has never been seen, the investors are shadowy, and every deal attached to it seems to vanish into smoke. Yet somehow, Kane has convinced a few key figures that it's real enough to risk their freedom for. And that's where Phyllis comes in. Brilliant, impulsive, and perpetually addicted to the rush of reinvention, she's always believed she could outsmart everyone, including herself. It began innocently enough, a consulting partnership between two outcasts trying to reclaim relevance in a town that has long since moved on. Kane promised her a fresh start, a chance to build something no one could take away again. For Phyllis, still scarred from her past legal troubles and personal betrayals, it sounded like salvation. But as the project deepened, so did the gray areas. Code manipulation, data theft, encrypted transmissions, things Phyllis once would have recognized as red flags now became justifiable risks. Kane's charisma made it all seem noble. He told her they weren't breaking the law, they were breaking the mold. She wanted to believe him until Nick Newman stepped in. Nick has always been the one trying to save Phyllis from herself. Their history is a carousel of passion and regret, with love always tangled up in rescue missions. Every time Phyllis strays toward chaos, Nick reappears, offering stability she never asked for but secretly craves. This time, his warnings come too late. He's learned that Kane has been using Phyllis as his unwitting accomplice, funneling her programming skills into a scheme that could cross ethical and legal lines. The so-called AI software may be nothing more than a front, a digital smokescreen hiding deeper crimes like insider trading, data laundering, or even blackmail. The idea that Phyllis could once again become collateral damage in someone else's ambition infuriates him. Nick corners her at the Grand Phoenix, where she's been staying under the guise of working remotely. The confrontation is classic Newman Summers intensity, quiet at first, simmering beneath the surface. He tells her he knows what she's doing with Kane, that she's walking straight into another disaster. Phyllis fires back, accusing him of condescension and hypocrisy, of pretending to care only when she's close to slipping. But beneath her bravado, his words land exactly where they're meant to, in the part of her that still fears losing everything she's rebuilt. Nick's plea is simple: don't let Kane take you down with him. Phyllis insists that she's in control, that she knows what she's doing. But Nick's final words linger long after he leaves: that's what you always say right before it all explodes. Meanwhile, Kane is orchestrating something bigger and far riskier than anyone suspects. He's arranged a private meeting with potential investors aboard a luxury train headed out of Genoa City under the pretense of a technology demonstration. What Phyllis doesn't know is that the meeting is a cover for a high-stakes data exchange, one that could expose them both if anything goes wrong. Kane convinces her to come along, claiming he needs her technical expertise to finalize the presentation. The plan sounds harmless enough, but deep down, Phyllis senses the familiar thrill of danger, and perhaps that's why she says yes. The train leaves the station under a moonlit sky, carrying not just business ambitions but unresolved tension. The confined space amplifies everything between them: the flirtation, the resentment, the magnetic pull they can't quite resist. Kane is charming, even gallant, pouring her a drink and complimenting her brilliance. "You're the only one who can make this work," he tells her, and for a fleeting moment, she believes him. But beneath the surface, danger is closing in. The investors he's supposed to meet never arrive, and the encrypted files she's been asked to upload lead to an unfamiliar destination. When she confronts him, Kane deflects, saying it's all part of the plan. But his eyes, confident yet calculating, tell another story. As the train speeds through the night, the air between them becomes charged. Frustration turns to vulnerability to something else entirely. It's not love, it's the collision of two people who recognize the chaos in each other. Phyllis knows better than to fall for men like Kane, but knowing better has never been her strong suit. The walls close in, the champagne flows, and for a moment the world outside the train doesn't exist. They stand too close, talk too softly, and when their hands finally brush, it's less a decision than a surrender. But just as the heat threatens to break their self-control, Phyllis pulls away, her instincts, long buried beneath adrenaline and loneliness, finally screaming loud enough to hear. "What are we doing?" she whispers. Kane, ever the smooth talker, smirks. "Winning," he says. But the word rings hollow. At that very moment, back in Genoa City, Nick receives a call that confirms his worst fears. Newman's cybersecurity team has detected unauthorized data transfers from Phyllis's personal servers. The trail leads directly to Kane's network. Nick realizes she's been set up, that Kane is using her as the fall guy in a scheme that could implicate her in corporate espionage. He races to contact her, but the train's communication systems are isolated. By the time he gets through, the damage may already be done. As dawn approaches, Phyllis discovers the truth on her own. She accesses the encrypted file Kane gave her and finds not AI code but financial data, private records from Newman Media, Chancellor Industries, and Jabot. Her stomach turns. "What did you do?" she demands. Kane doesn't answer immediately. Instead, he reaches for her arm, trying to calm her, but the gesture feels too familiar, too controlling. "You were never supposed to see that," he admits finally. "But don't worry, I'll take care of it." The words echo like a curse. Phyllis steps back, horrified, realizing that once again she's been drawn into a man's deception. The train slows as it nears its final stop, the tension between them thicker than the fog outside. Phyllis knows she has two choices: walk away now and expose everything, or stay quiet and hope Kane's promises mean something. But Genoa City has taught her that silence always costs more in the end. She copies the files onto her own drive, slips out of the compartment, and disappears just before the doors open. Kane watches her go, his expression unreadable, admiration and irritation in equal measure. When Phyllis returns to the city, Nick is waiting. Their confrontation is raw, emotional, and filled with history. She confesses everything: the trip, the files, the kiss that almost happened. Nick doesn't judge, he just looks at her with that familiar mix of frustration and affection. "You always think you can control the fire," he says quietly. "But the fire always controls you." Phyllis, for once, doesn't argue. She knows he's right. The fallout will ripple through Genoa City in the coming days. Newman's lawyers will start probing the breach, Victor will sense another corporate war brewing, and Jill will demand answers about Kane's missing investors. And somewhere, Kane himself will be preparing his next move, because for him, every scandal is just another opportunity to reset the game. For Phyllis, though, the scars will cut deeper. Once again, she's been burned by ambition disguised as redemption, by a man who saw her brilliance as something to exploit. Yet in true Phyllis fashion, she won't stay down for long. The next time she boards that train, it won't be as a pawn, it will be as the woman who learned the hard way that even in Genoa City, desire and danger travel on the same track. There's a growing sense in Genoa City that Kane Ashby's latest empire may be built on smoke and mirrors, and yet, somehow, he's convincing everyone to believe in it. The whispers have become too loud to ignore. The so-called AI software that Kane claims will revolutionize corporate intelligence might not exist at all. But when it comes to manipulation, Kane has always excelled at one thing: turning doubt into devotion. And this time, his most devoted believer is none other than Phyllis Summers. What began as a partnership of convenience has evolved into something far more complicated, a dangerous mix of shared ambition, mutual understanding, and emotional blind spots that could destroy them both. As Victor Newman prepares to launch an all-out media assault against Kane, the city's corporate elite brace for a storm. Kane's name has already begun circulating through business columns and podcasts, his AI project described alternately as the future of technology or the greatest hoax in Chancellor history. Privately, Victor is certain it's the latter. He's seen this playbook before, a man desperate to appear indispensable, fabricating success to mask failure. With Adam and Chelsea by his side, Victor begins crafting the perfect countermove, not through boardrooms or contracts, but through public opinion. Adam will seed rumors in financial circles about Kane's falsified data, while Chelsea leverages her media contacts to ensure those whispers turn into headlines. By the time they're done, Kane's credibility will be shredded long before the first lawsuit hits his desk. Phyllis, however, refuses to see it that way. In her mind, Kane is not the conman everyone thinks he is, he's the visionary they can't understand. When Nick confronts her in a tense meeting at Crimson Lights, it's less a conversation than a collision of worldviews. He accuses her of being blinded by charm and desperation, of repeating the same cycle that's nearly ruined her before. But Phyllis fires back with the confidence of a woman who refuses to be patronized. She insists she's seen Kane's software in action, that the prototype is real, and that its potential will change everything, not just for him, but for her. "We don't owe anyone an explanation," she tells Nick, her voice rising with both defiance and conviction. "Kane and I understand each other. That's enough." Nick sees the pattern all too clearly. He's watched Phyllis attach herself to dangerous men before, Marco, Jeremy, even Tucker, drawn not to their darkness, but to the illusion of control it gives her. Yet this time feels different, more personal. Phyllis isn't just defending Kane's integrity, she's defending her own. Every accusation against him feels like an indictment of her choices, her intelligence, her heart. The harder Nick pushes, the deeper she digs in. And when he warns her that Victor's media war could expose Kane as a fraud, she simply laughs, insisting that the truth will vindicate them both. But behind that laughter, there's something else, fear. A fear that maybe, deep down, she knows Kane might be lying. Kane, meanwhile, is beginning to crack under pressure. His confidence, that easy swagger he uses to keep everyone off balance, is slipping. Jill Abbott corners him first, demanding answers about missing funds, suspicious contracts, and the sudden disappearance of a major investor. Her tone is a mix of maternal disappointment and cold fury. She reminds him of everything he's already lost, his reputation, his family, his dignity. "Don't make me watch you burn it all down again," she warns. But Kane deflects with rehearsed calm, insisting that Jill simply doesn't understand how innovation works. He paints himself as the misunderstood genius, the victim of a system too rigid to embrace change. The confrontation with Lily Winters, however, cuts deeper. When she shows up at his office, she's not there as a businesswoman, she's there as the person who once believed in him more than anyone else. Their conversation is raw, quiet, and painful. Lily tells him she's heard the rumors, that she doesn't know what to believe anymore. She reminds him of the man he used to be, ambitious but decent, flawed but still capable of goodness. "You used to want to build things, not just win," she says softly. But Kane's pride has long since curdled into cynicism. He tells her that the world never rewards good men, that success is about perception, not morality. The words wound her more deeply than any betrayal could. Before she leaves, she looks back at him and says, "When the truth comes out, I hope you're still someone your children can recognize." By the end of the week, Victor's plan goes into motion. Newman Media begins releasing a series of exposés questioning the validity of Kane's AI project. Anonymous sources accuse him of falsifying results and misleading investors. Adam ensures that the stories spread like wildfire, while Chelsea curates the public narrative, portraying Victor as the responsible titan trying to protect the industry from a dangerous fraud. Within hours, Chancellor Winter's stock begins to dip, and Kane finds himself at the center of a public scandal. Furious and humiliated, he retreats to the one person who still believes in him, Phyllis. Their reunion happens late at night, in her suite at the Grand Phoenix. Kane arrives disheveled, angry, and desperate. The weight of the day presses down on him are the headlines, the accusations, the betrayal from people he once called family. Phyllis listens, offers him a drink, and tells him to ignore the noise. "They're scared of you," she says, her voice a whisper. "Scared of what you've created." It's the validation he craves, and he lets his guard down for the first time. What follows isn't just attraction, it's relief, two wounded souls clinging to the illusion of understanding. The line between comfort and passion blurs, and when the night ends, neither can claim it was a mistake, but both will know it was one. The next morning, consequences begin to form. Lily, shaken by her argument with Kane, returns to the Grand Phoenix to apologize, not to reconcile, but to make peace. When she opens the door to Phyllis's suite, the sight that greets her freezes her in place. Kane, half-dressed, stands at the window. Phyllis, startled, tries to speak, but the silence says it all. The betrayal on Lily's face isn't about romance, it's about realization. She finally understands that Kane's spiral isn't professional, it's personal. The man she once loved is gone, replaced by someone chasing power through self-destruction. As word of the scandal spreads, Victor doubles down, holding a press conference that positions Newman Enterprises as the protector of innovation integrity. Adam and Chelsea stand beside him, ensuring the message lands across every outlet. Meanwhile, Phyllis finds herself caught in the middle of the storm she helped create. Her partnership with Kane becomes public knowledge, her professional credibility shredded overnight. Nick confronts her again, not with anger this time, but with quiet disappointment. "You keep betting on people who only know how to lose," he tells her. "And every time, you lose with them." Kane, humiliated but defiant, vows to rebuild. He claims that the AI software still exists, that he'll prove everyone wrong, but no one believes him anymore. Even Jill turns away, telling him she's done cleaning up his messes. Lily leaves town for a few days, unable to bear the sight of what he's become. And Phyllis, now alienated from both Newman and Jabot circles, begins to question everything, not just her faith in Kane, but her endless need to find purpose through other people's chaos. As the week draws to a close, Victor watches the fallout from his office, satisfied yet cautious. He knows Kane is cornered, but a man with nothing to lose can be dangerous. "Keep an eye on him," he tells Adam quietly. Desperation makes people stupid. Across town, Kane sits alone in his suite, staring at the reflection of himself in a darkened window. He's lost control of his narrative, his allies, his heart. But beneath the regret, something flickers, not remorse, but resolve. "They think it's over," he murmurs to no one. "They have no idea what's coming." And in the shadows of Genoa City, where ambition and ruin dance the same rhythm, one truth remains unshakable: lies are just another form of survival. And Kane Ashby has never been more alive.